Hello and welcome to another Mr. Spreadsheet presentation. In this short video we will design a simple employee attendance worksheet using Excel. The final template is based on calendar months and can cater for 5 different leave types. Once completed, you can alter or adjust the months and the descriptions to better suit your needs. During the presentation, we will use Excel's DATE and WEEKDAY commands. We will name ranges and use conditional formatting. We will also use the VLOOKUP and the COUNTIF commands, as well as employing the replace routine to speed up our design work. The final template is both easy to use and to understand. As usual, if you need any help with the Excel functions that I've used, then please do leave a comment below. I hope you enjoy watching. Let's start designing our attendance sheet in Excel by opening up a new workbook. And on Sheet 1, click on column H at the top of the worksheet. And whilst holding down the left click button on your mouse, drag across the worksheet up until column AL. With this range highlighted, right-click your mouse and select column width from the Format dialog box. Change this to read 4 and click OK. In cell H3, enter the number 1 and in I3, enter the number 2. Now select cells H3 and I3, and with these two cells highlighted, copy and drag these across up until cell AL3. We now have our attendance sheet's monthly date range from day 1 through to day 31. Now select cell B4 and enter in the description name. In cell C4, enter the letter H. D4 is the letter S. E4 becomes P, F4 is a U, and finally G4 is an X. Now select column B and expand its width. And now highlight columns C through to G, and by right-clicking your mouse, change the column widths to 4 from the Format dialog box that opens. In our attendance sheet, column B will be used for our employee's or representative's name. The H in cell C4 stands for holiday leave. The S in D4 is statutory leave. P in E4 is paternity leave. The U in F4 is unpaid leave. And finally, X in G4 represents other leave. Now, obviously, you can change these descriptions to ones more suitable to your needs. Okay, let's quickly tidy up our work to date. From the Page Layout ribbon, uncheck the View Grid Lines box to give our worksheet a clear, transparent background. Reduce the width of column A such that we can view the entire worksheet's contents. That's great. Now, in the next section, we can start to enter our automated date routines. Select cell B3 and enter the month name of March. Now, highlight the range C3 through to G3, and from the Home ribbon, click the Merge and Center tool, and then the Align to the Left tool. Now, enter the year date of 2022. With this range still highlighted, select the Formulas ribbon and then choose the Define Name tool. Enter the name Year and click OK. Select both B3 and C3 and increase the font size and make bold. If you look at a calendar for March 2022, you will find that March the 1st is actually on a Tuesday. In cell H4, directly below the 1 in cell H3, we want Excel to automatically calculate which weekday the 1st of March falls on. We can do this by using Excel's weekday formula in conjunction with Excel's date command. Excel records dates by using a number value for every single date since the 1st of January 1900. So the 1st of January 1900 is, as far as Excel is concerned, day 1. Moving forwards to the 1st of March 2022, Excel's numeric value for this date is 43891. In other words, 43,891 days after the 1st of January 1900. The three components of any date are day, month and year. With this in mind, select cell H4 and enter in the formula equals date, open brackets, point to cell C3, which contains the year, enter a comma, then the number 3 for March, being the 3rd month of the year, then another comma, and then point to H3, which contains a 1 for the 1st day of the month. Now close the brackets and expand the width of column H so that you can see the resultant date. Okay, we now have the correct date in cell H4, but what we really want to know is which day of the week is it. We can now use Excel's weekday function to calculate this. We simply nest the original date command within Excel's weekday command as follows. Adjust the formula in cell H4 to read equals weekday, open brackets, date, open brackets, year, comma, 3, comma, H3, and then a double closing brackets. Now change the format of cell H3 back to a number and you should see the value 3, which according to Excel is the 3rd day of the week, after Sunday, which is day 1, and Monday, which is day 2, etc. Rather than cell H4 returning Excel's day of the week number, we want our worksheet to display the narrative Tuesday, or TUE, short for Tuesday. We can create a simple VLOOKUP table to achieve this. So add a new sheet to your workbook and copy in the table as shown using the same coordinates. Highlight the range B4 through to C10 and from the Formulas ribbon choose the Define Name command. In the dialog box that opens, enter date value with no spaces in the name field and click OK. Returning back to our original worksheet, alter the formula in cell H4 to now incorporate the VLOOKUP command to return the value Tuesday from the date value table. The formula now becomes equals VLOOKUP, open brackets weekday, open brackets date, open brackets year, comma 3, comma H3, double closing brackets, comma, date value, comma, 2, comma, false, and close the brackets. The value of Tuesday is correctly shown. We can now copy this formula all the way across the worksheet to automatically calculate the day of the week for the month of March 2022. So, with H4 active, copy and drag the formula from H4 all the way through to AL4. Everything populates correctly. You will note that by simply changing the year and the month values in the date command, you can adapt this attendance worksheet to function correctly for any calendar year and month. In this section, we will enter our first employee and create an easy-to-use drop-down box for each day, such that you can select one of the 5 leave options. Firstly, we will create a simple list of these 5 options on Sheet 2. So copy the leave types table onto your Sheet 2 worksheet using the same Excel coordinates. Now, highlight the range E4 through to E8, and from the Formulas ribbon, select the Define Name tool. Enter the name of leave types with no spaces and click OK to save. Return to sheet 1 and in cell B5 enter the name of our first employee, Jim Banks. Navigate to H5 and from the Data ribbon select the Data Validation tool. In the Allow field choose List and in the Source field enter equals leave types with no spaces and click OK. H5 now populates with a drop-down box selector arrow, inviting you to choose one of the 5 leave types. Now, with H5 still active, copy and drag the values from H5 all the way through to AL5. The entire range now incorporates a drop-down box to select a leave type from. Format the background colours of cells C4 through to G4 as shown on screen. Now select cell H5 again and from the drop-down box select H. To make the attendance worksheet easier to use, we are going to apply some visual effects. So for each of the 5 leave types, we will apply a background colour corresponding to the formats in cells C4 through to G4. We can achieve this by using Excel's Conditional Formatting tool. With cell H5 still active, select the Conditional Formatting tool from the Home ribbon. Click the Highlight Cells rule option and then the Equal To option. In the dialog box that opens, enter the letter H in the Format Cells that are equal to box. And in the With box, select Custom Format. Select the Fill tab and from the colour palette select the light orange colour, which corresponds to the colour in cell C4. Click OK and OK again, and now H4 has a new background colour. We can now repeat this process for the other 4 leave types. Enter the letter S in H5. Pick up the Conditional Formatting tool. Select the Highlight Cells rule option and then the Equal To option. Enter the letter S in the first field and choose Custom Format from the second field. From the Fill tab, choose Light Blue and then click OK and OK again. Cell H5 now has the correct blue background. Repeat this process for the letters P, U and X. With all of the background colours active for cell H5, we can now use the Format Painter tool to copy H5's formats to the rest of row 5. Simply select H5 and then pick up the Format Painter tool from the Home ribbon and copy and drag this across the row to cell AL5. Now randomly test this out by selecting different dates and different leave types. Hopefully the visual effects are working correctly. Navigate to cell C5. We need a total in this cell that adds up the number of days that Jim Banks has taken in this month as holiday leave, i.e. the letter H in the range H5 through to AL5. This is easily done by using Excel's COUNTIF command. Copy in my values for row 5 as shown on screen, and in cell C5 enter in the formula equals COUNTIF open brackets, select the range H5 through to AL5, then a comma, and now click on cell C4 to pick up the letter H and close the brackets. The value of 2 is returned by the formula, which corresponds to the exact number of instances where H appears in this first row. To make this formula a little clearer, and to enable us to copy the formula across to the other 4 leave types in cells D5 through to G5, It would greatly help us to give the range H5 through to AL5 a name. We can then incorporate this name into our formula in cell C5. So highlight the range H5 through to AL5 and from the Formulas ribbon select the Define Name tool. Enter row A in the name field and click OK. Then select C5 and amend the formula to read equals COUNTIF, open brackets, row A, comma, C4 and close the brackets. We can further simplify this COUNTIF formula by giving a name to cell C4. So highlight cell C4 and once again choose the Define Name tool from the Formulas ribbon. In the name field enter H for holiday and then click OK. Now simply change the formula in cell C5 to read equals COUNTIF open brackets row A, comma, the letter H and now close the brackets. This makes the formula easier to understand and, more importantly, will enable us to copy this formula without changing cell coordinates. The formula should still return the value of 2. Now let's copy and drag the contents of C5 all the way across to G5. We'll find that each cell returns the value of 2, which is incorrect. We need to change the second element of each cell to represent the letters of either S, P, U or X. So firstly, name cell D4 S for stationery. Name cell E4 P for paternity. F4 becomes U for unpaid. And G4 becomes X for other. We can do this by using the Define Name tool as previously shown. Then we simply substitute the new name for the second component of each of the cells from D5 all the way through to G5. So the formula in D5 becomes equals COUNTIF open brackets row A, comma, S and close the brackets, where we have substituted the S for the original H. Now do the same for cells E5 through to G5. And once you've completed this, you can test it out by changing the various values across the range H5 through to AL5. Okay, that's great. Our first line is working correctly. Hopefully, we can use our work to date to simplify the next few steps in our employee attendance spreadsheet. So highlight the entire row from C5 through to AL5 and now copy and drag this down a further 10 rows to row 15. Now highlight the range H6 through to A15 and delete the contents. You will note that we still have values in each line. These values are the same as those of the first line. Navigate to cell C6. The formula in this cell refers to row A. We need this to refer to row B. So select the range H6 through to AL6 and name this range row B by using the Define Name tool on the Formulas ribbon. Return to cell C6 and change the formula to read equals COUNTIF open brackets row B, comma, H and close the brackets. Now that we have corrected cell C6, we need to make the same changes to the cells D6 through to G6. This routine is a little tiresome, so let's speed this up by using Excel's Replace tool. Highlight the range C6 through to G6 and from the Home ribbon click on the Find and Select tool and select the Replace option. In the dialog box that opens, enter row A in the Find What field and row B in the Replace With field. And now click the Replace All option. Excel informs us that 4 replacements were made, noting that we had previously changed the contents of cell C6. Use this Replace command to change the formulas in each row, not forgetting that for the formulas to work, you must name each row by using the Define Name command. So, by the time you get down to line 15, you will have defined names for each row's range from column H through to column L, and replace the row value for each COUNTIF command. As you complete each row, test your work to ensure complete accuracy. Finally, let's add a header in cell B2. Let's change some of the font sizes and their alignments, and use the Borders tool to define your parameters, and finally choose a colour scheme to your liking. And that's it. Our work is complete. We do hope that you enjoyed watching our employee attendance spreadsheet tutorial, and that there was lots of content that you found both useful and informative. Now, if you would like us to send you a copy of the completed spreadsheet, then all we ask is that you give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Alternatively, please visit us on either Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. If you are a small business and you want to keep your accounting records in Excel, then why not watch our How to Keep Your Accounts in Excel video? Alternatively, why not take a look at our How to Keep Inventory in Excel presentation? This popular tutorial will show you how to maintain and record your business inventory.